What's poppin', y'all? This is an interesting week in hip hop because we're just getting beef after beef that come from complete misunderstandings by people, and then they just keep doubling down and beefing anyway, which is entertaining for us, I guess, so we can't really complain, but they're completely unnecessary. Now, this all started with a Nicki Minaj tweet where she posted Punch from TDE, or what I'm guessing is Punch, and says, "Me after I ass some good Z. Guaranteed you wouldn't fight a man. We have every tweet of your incessant bullying, lying, and more. Your name was added to that ish list, ishy drawers. Same thing that make you laugh, make you ish." And then cheesing emoji. This is a thing that I don't like that Nicki Minaj does, is she always does, "Oh, you wouldn't do this to a man." And then she always says, "I'm going to send my man after you." But she's the one that's combative with all of these. Like, she brings this crazy aggressive energy and she's like, "Oh, you wouldn't do that to a man." It's like, well, you're behaving more aggressively than the dudes. Like, the dudes are usually just trying to come to some sort of cordial agreement, and then Nicki's just rampaging through it. And you know what started this? The reason why she responded in this way is because Punch tweeted Broken Barbies, which is a song by an artist named Lyric that he's managing, or I don't know if she's signed to TDE, but I know that he's managing. And then this continues a tirade. TDE, Tiny D Executive. And then she goes, "Y'all remember when Doodoo on the beats was feeling his doodoo? Now he's sitting on it." And you're like, dog, what? And then she goes, "So glad I have proof of being bullied by and being lied on by a man publicly on a platform I use for my job after I rejected his business proposition on more than one occasion. He failed to disclose to the public that I had rejected his business propositions and thereby acted in what appears to be retaliation purposefully used to cause financial damages and to engage in a smear campaign against the brand." And the brand she's talking about is the brand of Barbie, Nicki Minaj's brand. And there is some history between them, so it's not like Nicki's just going for some random guy that she's never interacted with or had any conversation with whatsoever. And at the same time, SZA had also tweeted something that had people thinking that she was taking aim at Nicki Minaj, which would not be a good move for SZA considering how sensitive SZA usually is. This was what SZA said. And this is so funny. SZA said, "Mercury retrograde. Don't take the bait. LOL. Silly goose." And this I can understand Nicki Minaj replying to, because there's the Broken Barbies thing, and then Barbie is Nicki Minaj's brand. So she replies to that. And then SZA replies and says, "Don't take the bait." When you're saying don't take the bait in that situation, Nicki's probably thinking, hold on, what is this chick trying to come at me, or what's the deal here? And that's what it seemed like. So Nicki goes on and says, "Go draw your freckles back on, bookie." And then these hashtags are just in reference to some Rock Nation stuff. "Liar, liar, pants on fire, sounding like a effing dead dog." Okay, what we're not going to do is pretend that SZA's music isn't amazing. "Chick looking and sounding like she got stung by a effing bee, ... draw on my fake freckles." Now, this had to really, really hurt her. And then SZA says, "LMAO, let me go back to being calm, shy, and meek. Y'all have blessed night. See you tomorrow for night 2, Paris." And then she says, "Shut up, ugly. I'm in a meeting, so I don't know if you was talking ish or not. So if you didn't, I'll delete later." And it's like, damn, dog. And then she posts, so I think that's Punch and another one. And it's because Punch manages SZA. His bio for so long was just, "I manage SZA." And she says, "Chick damn near broke that man back and leg. Chick fat, chubby, and skinny at the same damn time. Chick, where are those 30 million streams that disappeared on Spotify like your faux freckles?" I think it was the 30 million monthly listeners. Or was that Doechii that dropped 30 million monthly listeners? A lot of people were dropping monthly listeners and streams. But I don't think Nicki Minaj can call people out like that, because while she is historically more popular, everything that they did for these artists, they did for her, and she may just not know about it. It's not like SZA's the one that's telling people, "Hey, bot my stuff." Botting tweets when you arguing is just as weird as SZA. And then she says, "This what they be wanting when they release music. Speak on me or about me at your own risk." They didn't speak about her. "When I'm discussing the abuse I've suffered at the hands of any man." And this is where she goes to, like, it's weird. Like, she tries to play this victim, but also this aggressor. And we've also heard behind the scenes stories of her being very aggressive when she was at her peak. "If you as a woman choose to get in the field, you're going to leave bloody." Figuratively speaking, of course. She's talking about SZA. "I'll expose more of your lies, and I tell y'all all the time I play the long game. So while y'all celebrated insignificant wins and fake laugh for hours, God was already working. Sit this out. Trust. Ego won't win this one. Truth is truth. It doesn't change. The lies and deceit and abuse of power ain't gonna cut it. No mo, no mo, no mo." And then she says, "Wait, does SZA think she's more successful than me? Okay, we got to address this point. Number one, historically, legacy-wise, SZA is absolutely not on Nicki Minaj's level. However, if we're going to talk about the past 5 years, hit songs, if you want to call it cult, youth, let's just say the youth, yes, SZA is more relevant musically, and in the past 5 years, her music has been more successful than the music that Nicki Minaj has released in the last 5 years. Absolutely 100%. We cannot argue that. But then when we get into like the full career, no. Absolutely not. LOL, y'all catch me up, please. SZA, if every song you've ever done vanished right now, the music business wouldn't even miss you. I've been to countries that never heard of you. I know you're not that stupid, are you? They may not have heard of her, but they've heard her songs, I promise you. Stadiums. Did you look at the venues I played on my own headlined festival tour out of that country last year? Chick, have you ever headlined to 80K people? Chick, what have you ever done besides yodel with autotune that needed retuning? Boo, I'm an icon. You're not. This is true. Nicki Minaj is an icon. You could even say the closest thing to an icon now would not be SZA. It would be maybe like Doja Cat. This is one thing we have to respect about SZA, though, is that she's all music. People that love her, they love her music. And that's something that we have to give credit to because people talk about antics. Now, character, to be an icon, you need to be bigger than just the music, which in its own right is something to respect as well. So Nicki Minaj, icon, of course. And you can even say Doja Cat is like the closest thing to that. Who else do we have right now that's an icon? I would say Doja Cat is more of an icon than SZA because of all like the moments that Doja Cat has, like her personality, her doing these crazy stunts as in like, you know, all these tattoos and changing her look and shaving her head and all that stuff. And she says, boo, I'm an icon, you're not. The end. Pay that man for almost breaking his back. Why didn't you speak up when your exec was bullying and harassing me, you dirty mangy? Sheesh. These botted numbers on all platforms have y'all losing y'all mother effing minds. If everything's botted, how does she have all those people at her shows? You the type that would have been quiet in school trying to fit in. You still have no clue who you are. I know you went nights without washing that musty face. How you remember exactly where every freckle go. Desiree Perez, we want to discuss your daughter's lawsuit. And I don't see how that continuously gets thrown in there. And then she says, Chick put out a whole album as a deluxe to an already existing album that was out for a year or two so the original album could break records. Like, what in the insecure lack of morals and integrity you doing? I thought she was like a real artist. Girl, bye. And then, yeah, she just goes on and on and on and on. And she is, dog, like, this is brutal. And I love this. I love every bit of this. But SZA tries to come back, and it doesn't really hit all the way. SZA says, I don't give a F about none of that weird issue popping. And that's when she was talking. Listen, SZA, you cannot pretend to be unbothered because you are consistently. There have been small, tiny comments made about SZA that we've heard just from academics that cause her to break down and be unable to finish a studio session. So Nicki Minaj coming at you with this level of aggression, no, this hurts your feelings. You're very hurt by this, and that's okay. But some fans were saying that SZA's always talking about astrology, and they referenced some tweets when she's always talking about retrograde and Mercury and Venus and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's true, but I don't think SZA's an idiot. I think she was kind of just trying to throw subs at this situation. But there is some history here. So when we get to the history of Punch, SZA, and Nicki Minaj, that's where we get some better context. And SZA responded to Nicki Minaj and said, Nicki, you absolutely know my music and what I contribute because you've asked for features twice to no response. In addition to rapping my lyrics on Feeling Myself, cooking up the bass, looking like a kilo. LOL, you're having a moment. I'm not sure why, but be blessed. And it shows this text conversation back in 2020. And she says, hey, it's Nicki. And then she says, Minaj? The blue on the right side is going to be SZA. The left is Nicki, as it says. Yeah, how are you? I'm good money. What's poppin'? And congrats are in order. Thank you. Is SZA recording right now? Got this hook I think she would be dope on. Yeah, she heavy into her album. Send it. Okay, I'll just send the hook first. If she F with it, I'll send the files to an email. Give me a sec. Bet. So you can't really talk about somebody's talent and say they sound like this and that when you wanted to work with them. And that's what Nicki said in this other tweet where it's like, LOL, these be the fake girls who talk ish but will run you down for a photo or do ish like this on camera to pretend they're not the hater they really are. I wonder what she was lying about to the interviewer. Man, it's so freeing to really be yourself. And they were saying that SZA was hating on Rihanna as well. As of now, we haven't gotten a response from Nicki Minaj on that particular front, but we can assume that we're going to get something soon. However, there have been these other pop pages, which is what really lends itself to the theory that Nicki Minaj might be right, that there are people that are out there to get her, because you've got pages saying, despite being released just 2 years ago, SZA's SOS has now outsold Nicki Minaj's entire 5-album discography in total units and global certifications. It has also outcharted every Nicki Minaj album, both in the US and worldwide. And that's where you just get, this is why I think Nicki Minaj is talking about being an icon and sales. Like, okay, this one album did all of this, but are you an icon? And we can all agree that SZA is not an icon, not even for her own generation. So, but also, these kind of narratives aren't coming out of nowhere. That's the thing. And yeah, I really like this. We've got the females beefing, we got the males beefing, we've got everybody going back and forth about it. And it's all just from a misunderstanding, unfortunately. But Nicki didn't reply to this. However, one of Nicki's fans decided to go in on her and said, add another thing, show all the messages. When screenshot iPhone messages, it has the iPhone message keyboard. These messages were not sent to your phone based on the context. I am Punch, speak up. And then they were giving context. So talk about how you and Summer, this is Summer Walker, wanted her on the No Love remix, and she said no, so y'all give it to Cardi B and it flopped. Nicki never rapped your lyrics. The bridge you're referring to in Feeling Myself is a sung bridge. You didn't write a rap on the song, girly. Now tell me I'm lying. This is just like ridiculousness. They respect each other's work. Now that they don't like each other, they're going to pretend that they don't respect each other's work, which SZA didn't do. She just said, like, hey, you're calling me trash, but I helped you out. That's one thing I don't like. Like, if you respect somebody's work, even when you don't like them anymore, you just say you don't like them anymore for behavior that they did, not that their music sucks. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Do you think this is going to continue to develop, or SZA's going to crouch back into her shell like a tortoise? That's not like a physical, that's metaphorical, not physical whatsoever. Let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see you on the next one.